100 घंटों तक लगातार इंडिया ने देखा 100 hours 100 stars। वेल सॉरी, वादा तो यही था, लेकिन फीवर एफएम, रेडियो नशा और रेडियो 1 ने दिया वादा से भी ज्यादा। 100 घंटों में लगभग 150 नेशनल और इंटरनेशनल सेलिब्रिटीज से हमने आपको रूबरू कराया। हमारे साथ रहे एक्टर्स,
अभी तो मुझे लगता है कि सबके घर में वही गाना चल रहा होगा, हम तुम एक कमरे में बंद हो और चाबी खो जाए। चाबी जो है बात पुलिस वालों के पास है और सब कमरे में अपने घरों में बंद है। इस तरह हम वो टिकटॉक वाला हैंड चैलेंज करते हैं।
यस अनमोल, अच्छा आप पूरा सीख के आए हो? मुझे बोला था मुझे भी नहीं आता, मुझे भी नहीं आता।
हमारे মতো লোক জন্মায় তৈরি করা যায়।
हमको एनलाइटन किया टॉप के बिजनेस टाइकून्स ने।
Never chase titles, but you use your titles to influence and make change.
So we were very excited with this new work from home and webinars, etc. But I think we needed to slow down and take some breaks.
The first thing that we did was, let's use our current office premises to be as efficient as we can. So our security, our cooks, and our office boys are locked in. We've got 100,000 square foot headquarter office. So we started cooking food and serving 1,000 meals a day from our office.
हमारा दिल बहलाया संगीत के सितारों ने।
Let's go for it.
मतलबी हो जा जरा मतलबी
ये carnival ने तोड़ इंटू तेरी पागिरे काटोड़ वही रोड़ी पोना दो नोड़ अनबे दिल क्या करे जब किसी को किसी से प्यार हो जाए। ना जा कहीं अब ना जा दिल के सिवा है यही दिल पूजा तेरा है मेरे हमदम मेरे दोस्त। ना जा बाहर से कोई अंदर न आ सके, अंदर से कोई बाहर न जा सके, सोचो कभी ऐसा हो तो क्या हो।
हमको प्रोत्साहित किया हमारे चहेते स्पोर्ट्स स्टार्स ने।
At home, who's a grandmaster, you or your wife Aruna? Because I've heard that she can beat you hands down in a game of chess. Is that true?
No, that is not true. But she can pretty much do everything else.
You have to choose a sport, and the sport chooses you also. You cannot just get up and you are 6 and you think, oh, you know what, I'm going to be this or I'm going to be that or I'm going to... You don't. And especially not about the career.
Whenever someone's going for a gym session, we don't really say, ना हम gym करने जा रहे हैं. It's always like, ना हम gym तोड़ने जा रहे हैं.
दो चीज आता है दिमाग में, फेलियर या सक्सेस। तो जब आप खेलते हो लंबे समय तक तो आप अपने दिमाग को सक्सेस के लिए ही ट्यून करते हो। तो ये गेम लाइफ में बहुत कुछ सिखाया है हमको और उसी को इस्तेमाल करते हैं रियल लाइफ में।
हमको समझाया हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस और राइटर्स ने।
You realize that now in times of COVID, now the men have learned to sweep the house, clean the house. Yes. And now they realize the contribution of a woman. It's a pity that it's COVID that has to teach us.
The truth is, Sanu, that many people delude themselves into thinking that because their number of followers is high, they're universally admired. The truth is, very often you're followed by people whose only aim in following you is to attack you. They're not fans or friends or followers in any other sense.
जिंदगी कभी कभी मैं सोचता हूँ कि रमी के खेल की तरह पत्ते आपकी मर्जी के नहीं होते, क्या पता क्या है, ये आपके हालात हैं, ये आपके सर्कमस्टेंस हैं। फिर आप उन पत्तों को देखते हैं और ठीक से अरेंज करते हैं, ये इधर लगा लेते हैं, इधर लगाते हैं कि शायद यहाँ पर सीक्वेंस बन जाए। तो ये आप अपने हालात को मैनेज कैसे करते हैं, कैसे अरेंज करते हैं, किस चीज को अहमियत देते हैं, किस चीज को अहमियत नहीं देते, ये आप पर।
और हमको फिट रहना सिखाया हमारे फिटनेस एक्सपर्ट्स ने।
घर का काम यस हम लोग कर रहे हैं, मगर एक्सरसाइज इज अ टाइम फॉर अस टू ब्रीथ। और इस कोविड में ब्रीदिंग इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। घर का काम हम लोग करते हैं क्योंकि मजबूरी है, tell me somebody who's like, chalo, मैं आज झाड़ू मार रही हूँ, and you know, मैं आज बर्तन धो रही हूँ.
Stop taking so much of stress. Stress is there in everyone's life, but it's how you handle it. How much do you allow it to affect you? You know, all these things together builds a strong immunity.
Mood boosting and immunity boosting is like surely an afternoon nap that doesn't go on endlessly, that ends in like half an hour. तो अगर आप आफ्टरनून नैप लोगे तो आपको रात को भी अच्छी नींद आती है, प्लस इट विल बूस्ट योर इम्यूनिटी, और ये जो शुगर क्रेविंग हो रही है लोगों को बार बार, वो बिल्कुल नहीं होएगी.
पर हमारे साथ थे कुछ ऐसे भी कलाकार जो जुड़े थे फ्रॉम 7 समुंदर पार.
Alright, here we go. You ought to know, tonight is the night to let it go. Put on a show, I wanna see how you lose control. So leave it behind, 'cause we had a night to get away. So come on and fly with me as we make our great escape. So baby, don't worry, you are my only, you won't be lonely. Even if the sky is falling down, down. Even if the sky is falling down.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's so hard to see. Yeah. The things that we dread so much come apart so easily. And in my distress I often pray. Oh yeah.
100 Hours, 100 Stars was the biggest social media carnival India has ever witnessed. ये सिर्फ एक एंटरटेनमेंट का शो नहीं, बल्कि एक मुहिम भी थी. कोविड वॉरियर्स के सपोर्ट के लिए पीएम केयर्स फंड में कंट्रीब्यूट करने की मुहिम. और इस कामयाबी के लिए हम उन सभी स्टार्स और सभी व्यूअर्स और लिसनर्स को तहे दिल से कहते हैं शुक्रिया, और साथ ही कोविड वॉरियर्स को करते हैं सलाम. ये 100 घंटे थे आप सभी के नाम.
I have to say at the start, welcome to 100 Hours, 100 Stars by the Fever Network. It's a non-stop tribute to our COVID warrior. Thank you so much for getting in touch with us today.
Thank you for reaching out.
Well, the last time we connected was a couple of years ago with Track of My Years. We missed out on Get Up, but I've been meaning to chat with you since then. Of course, Shine a Light happened, and as fate would have it, here you are. I wish it was under better circumstances.
I know, it's incredible what's happened, and it was only 2 months ago I was playing in a show up in the north in Scandinavia, and I was talking to my manager saying, I think we're going to have to postpone this tour. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. And of course, within 3 days, the whole tour got postponed. And I was actually thinking to myself the other day, I wonder when it'll be that 10,000 people are going to want to get together in a room again.
That is so true. You know, speaking of where you are at the moment and where the world is at the moment, you know, your take on this. I mean, we've never seen something like this ever. But, you know, coming from you, we'd love to know, what is it that you're going through at the moment, and what has this whole thing taught you about yourself?
Well, from a family standpoint, it's quite nice because we're all together, and I've got my kids, and it's really sweet, and we're having fun. The homeschooling is a bit challenging, but the rest of it's really great, and it feels like an extended sort of vacation in some ways. But then the reality kicks in, and you think, well, actually, I don't have any work for the rest of the year. And so if I'm in that position, I imagine there are millions of other people as well. So I'm extremely worried about what's going to happen.
Yeah. So talk to us, Bryan, about this whole spectrum, this whole demographic of, you know, generations of fans, you know, that have followed you and are so loyal to you till date. What would you like to say to them?
Well, I would say thanks, first of all, and I'm glad you like the music. We've always prided ourselves, speak of us, I speak of myself and my band, to be able to play concerts around the world. And I made promise to myself that I would try and get to as many places as possible. And we achieved that. And of course, one of the places was India. I think we did the first big concert as a Western artist in India in 1992 or 93 in Mumbai. It was an extraordinary experience, unforgettable. Very different to the India of today, to be honest, because the India then, one thing that was particularly notable is that nobody had a phone. And so if I go back over my photographs from the time, there's not a single telephone in the audience. And I think that the songs have sort of stood the test of time. I wish the videos were as good.
Well, you work a lot with, your advocacy and through the Bryan Adams Foundation. Finding your compassion, Bryan, today, be it for the homeless. You recently did, a book of photographs for the homeless, or as the case may be today about the migrant laborer, which is, all over the world. They're fighting to go home and they've been forced to sort of deal with the coronavirus on the streets. What would your message be to those listening in, to the rule makers and the change makers, of those people who influence policy? What would you like to say to them?
I think that whether that virus was here or not, the issue of homelessness is a really particularly bad one, and everyone should take notice and be kind and do what you can to help people, because not everyone is as fortunate as yourselves, and you have to try and give back as much as you can. So always keep an eye for the person on the street and do what you can.
Coming to the age of Corona, and Corona speak, so to say, is all over the place. Have you heard of terms like the COVIDiot?
I have.
What about an isobar? Do you know what an isobar is?
I don't.
That's a fridge well stocked with alcohol to get you through the pandemic.
Okay.
Do you have an isobar?
Well, I don't drink, so no.
Okay. We are trying to keep our numbers down. We've been in lockdown for nearly 6 weeks here in India. And as you can imagine, anxiety levels are high. It's peaking. Do you have a kind of a solution, or maybe, what can someone do to combat cabin fever, as the case may be?
Really difficult question, because it depends on how each individual is living and how many people you're isolated with. Impossible question to answer, really. I mean, I can tell you what I'm doing to keep myself occupied, and that is a combination of, obviously, a bit of schooling with the girls, taking care of the place, and a bit of songwriting, a lot of communicating with friends via sort of internet chat, and trying to look after my mother from a long distance, which is difficult because my mother's 92, she's in isolation, and of course we're being very careful of how we take care of her, because she can't have anybody come into the house that hasn't been taking care of themselves. So I can't visit her because I'm far away, and it's just I'm very grateful to the fact that I can at least see her every day on video chat.
Okay. And your message to COVID-19 warriors who are on the battlefront, pretty much, fighting every day, fighting the virus, so that we can stay safe. What would you like to say to them?
Well, thank you. Thank you for being so dedicated. It's obviously the job that people sign up for as a health worker, and it's like a firefighter. You're going to have to end up one day in a fire. You just don't know when or how it's going to turn out. So to all those people that are working in public service, my grateful thanks to you all.
Okay. I have to ask you, what advice would you have for the young artist today who is probably terrified about where their next gig is going to come from? What would you like to say to them?
Just focus on your songs, because that's the thing that's going to get you through it, whether you're on tour or not. So always believe in the music first, and that will get you through.
Okay. As we wrap up, I have to touch upon the legendary, partnership with Jim Valance, and I have to ask you, Don, 4 decades on, still going strong, a little bit about that magic between the two of you.
I was very fortunate to meet up with somebody that had sort of a like-minded musical taste, and we sort of stuck to our guns, even though in the beginning it was very difficult to get anyone to listen to our music, eventually we broke through, and it just continues because it's quite exciting still to create music, because the magic of creating something from nothing is what spurs most people on creatively. It's certainly what started me off, because I never expected to be at this age still talking about it, and to be talking about songs that I wrote when I was 24. Thank you to all the people in India that have supported us, and for the magical concerts we've had there, unforgettable times, and I'm very grateful and thankful to you all.
Right. When all this is through, we would love to have you back here in India and in Mumbai City. You know that. You've got fans as young as 17 and, and all the way up from there. So we really, really would love to see you back, fingers crossed, in a COVID-19 free world.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, thank you so much for being part of 100 Hours, 100 Stars right here on the Fever Network.
Thank you, Erica.
Well, it's just that 100 hours, 100 stars has finished. और ये 101वां घंटा है. तो ट्रेडिशनली हिंदुस्तान में कहते हैं कि जो 101 रुपए होते हैं वो नेक की चीज होती है. इट्स लाइक अ गिफ्ट. सो वी हैव अ गिफ्ट फॉर एवरीबडी हु इज वाचिंग दिस. 100 hours, 100 stars, non-stop tribute to COVID warriors. We are doing this. और 101 घंटे में हमारे साथ हैं Mr. Praveen Someshwar, the MD and CEO of HT Media Ltd. Good to have you, sir.
Good to be there, Peeyush. It's great to be part of the 100 Hours, 100 Stars show. You folks at HT Radio, Nasha, Fever, and Radio 1 are doing some phenomenal work. I'm really excited to be here, and I've really enjoyed how you celebrate the COVID warriors, as well as entertaining people as they stay at home. Just amazing.
So, I was just very curious about you, because I wanted to interview you for a long time, and I was very curious that you have been a phenomenal business leader, successful business leader. Everybody knows. But when it comes to introducing you, in your heart, how would you want yourself to be introduced, or how would you want that to be done?
Piyush, those are kind words. Absolutely kind words. I feel humbled. But what excites me personally is about building teams and bringing out the best in the people within the organization. That's really what excites me. So I'm constantly working with people, working around them, and working through them, nurturing them to get the very best through our teams. And therefore, when they leave a footprint, I feel delighted. Okay.
And it shows on your face. Every time we've met, every time we've seen you address the teams internally and externally, there's a smile that you carry. What is that like? And I have to tell you, it's infectious, because once wo hota hai ki we have seen a lot of videos on YouTube. There's a person who's standing in a crowd, and the person just smiles, and everybody starts smiling. So that's very infectious. Is there a plan to it, or it just comes naturally?
Well, it's natural, I assume. There are no plans to life or such things. I assume when I was young, my parents must have smiled at me, and I must have constantly smiled back at them. And it's just grown over a period of time. There are times I get feedback that I shouldn't smile so much, especially when I was giving interviews at some other points of time. But, this is me, and this is what you get when you speak with me. And therefore, I'll continue to smile, and therefore, hopefully build some energy which is positive across the space.
Touch wood. But, sir, it's a very interesting thing that I figured out. I was researching about you, and I couldn't find anything. Like, except the LinkedIn and a couple of things about your professional life, nobody can find out anything about you. So, what kind of a person you are? You are a very reserved person, secretive person, chilled out, easygoing. Nobody can find out anything about you. Why?
Right. Look, I'm surprised, but I'm not going to debate that. Well, I'm a very, very relaxed person. I love people, and therefore I'm constantly interacting with people around. It could be work, It could be my associates. It could be my broad network of people who I haven't, come across over the last 25 years I've been working, or it could be family and my loved ones. It's amazing that these days, when people are working from home, and I've noticed that I've been busier than before. Okay, because my day starts pretty early, but through the day there's work around office. In the evening, there are people who want to catch up with me. And late evening, there are family and friends across the world who want to catch up. And these days, because everybody's going through these COVID challenges, I am starting to see we connecting a lot more than ever before. And that's beautiful. So I'm surprised you can't find more about me, but I was talking about interaction, and therefore I'm across various forms of interaction, if I may say.
I was talking about the personal life. That's it's like where do you hail from? How did you start? And so these things are not available. So that is what I wanted to know from you, Ki. What is the journey? How has the journey been so far? Like, what kind of a student were you? What kind of a childhood? Where do you hail from? All these things.
Well, my daughter would be more delighted talking about it, because she loves to say that she's doing better in school than I was ever. I was not a great student. I was we come from a small city in south of India named Mangalore, Karnataka.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a lovely sea town, and I love it. Great food there.
Mm-hmm.
And people are pretty relaxed and enjoyable. So that's where we come from. I grew between mostly in Bangalore, some part of it in Delhi as I grew up. I was an okay student, if I may say so. I had a lot of extracurricular thoughts. So my parents ensured that we are reasonably well off in terms of studies, but never really pushed us hard enough that studies are everything. So done reasonably well in studies. My daughter's beating me to it, and that's what she reminds me every now and then these days. Did my professional qualification, if I may say so, CA and ICW, but that really is about just making sure that you set up yourself well in the corporate world. I think the corporate world has been fascinating. I worked with ICI for a few years and 20 plus years with PepsiCo. Worked across the world, many functions. I started as a finance guy, went into various other functions, and ended up as a business head. I've enjoyed this journey, and the last 18 months, and it's been 18 months in HT Group. It's been fascinating. It's been a life full of learning, unlearning, and relearning, if I may say so. Learning, because as you went through, you enjoyed understanding various facets of business and contributing to it. Unlearning, because the situation changed, and therefore what you learned became redundant, and therefore you unlearned. And then relearning new skills. And I'm constantly doing that. And that's been really the best part of the overall 25 years ride, other than building a huge network of people who I can depend on, and they can depend on me mutually. So that's been a fascinating journey.
So were you a mischievous kid, a backbencher, a front bencher?
Well, I was not mischievous, I'll be honest. I was neither a front bencher. I was amongst the averages. I was neither a front bencher or a back bencher. I was curious as a kid, okay? But I was not mischievous. I would ask a lot of questions, and therefore I would leave an impact on people because of the number of questions I asked. But I was learning and processing in my mind. So that's how I would put it. I was more curious than mischievous. I was neither a front or a backbencher. I would go unnoticed most times, other than the times I would ask questions. I would love my sports. I would love my music and theater, and I would love my studies. So I would do all of that. So fundamentally, because given all of this mix, I was in a large set of groups, if I may say so.
So it's very important, everybody who's watching, that how the leaders, how the people who become successful, and how there has to be either there are two types of people. One who believe that there is a format to it. The others who believe that there's no format to it. The formatted people think at times that, okay, only good studies and just being a bookworm and not thinking about other things in life and not complete development of your personality. There's that school of thought, and then there's this other. So it's good to hear, sir, that being amongst everything, yet producing such fine results can make anybody a good leader. So one very important question is that this is a very difficult time as a person, as well as a business leader. शायद ही हम में से कोई भी इस जनरेशन का और आपके और उस हमसे पहले वाली जनरेशन में ऐसा हुआ होगा, कोई इंसान होगा जिसको कि एक ऐसी डिफिकल्टी जो लाइफ टाइम्स में कई बार एक बार में ही आती है, जहां पर मेंटल, फाइनेंशियल, फिजिकल हर तरीके की डिफिकल्टी आती है. हाउ डू यू एज अ पर्सन डील विद इट, एंड एज अ प्रोफेशनल are you dealing with it?
Look, challenges are real. Piyush, there is nothing like आपके साथ कम हो जाता है या किसी और के साथ ज्यादा होता है. I think it's real. Everybody gets his set of challenges. The world going through this very challenging period altogether is really the biggest challenge right now, because all of us are feeling what's happening professionally, personally, our loved ones somewhere, people we know somewhere, and therefore my brother stays in New York City in Manhattan and went through the scare of COVID. And 5 weeks, he was constantly, we progressed through his journey as he was battling it. But all is well, and that is the good news. But the best way, I think, there are two things I learned, and this is more from my parents and my upbringing. One is the power of exercise and meditation. Okay, so I would, I've pretty much exercised through my life, different forms of exercise as I've grown up, much more physical to begin with, but they taught us meditation very early in life. I continue to do yoga, I continue to run these days, I continue to meditate. And I pretty much do 2 out of these 3 every morning. Okay, so I start pretty early, and that keeps me very calm. That doesn't ever leave me in a very excited space. That's one part of it. The second, to me, is spending a lot of time with the 3 women in my life: my mom, my wife, and my daughter. So it's fascinating how they teach me constantly about various things. They surprise me, they're calm in all types of challenges they face, and they give me great insights. So to me, those are the 2 things which have allowed me to keep myself balanced as I go through this journey. But there's a third thing which has got added over the COVID shutdown, if I may say so, the lockdown tales, if I may say so, is about the weekend musical soiree with my friends across Zoom. We used to catch up once a year, twice a year over the last 5-6 years. But over the last 5 weeks, and they are in different parts of the world, okay, Singapore, Hong Kong, New York City, California, and many parts of India, all of us have caught up over every weekend. And we spend a few hours, and there are some good musicians in this. I'm not, but I'm a great listener. So, and I enjoy my music. So it's been fascinating listening to various forms of music. So it's brought the best out of us. So really, I would say 2 things, but the third thing's got added over the last 4 weeks.
Well, that's great. So this current scenario, does it look like the Great Depressions of the 1900s, when the economy was struggling for X number of reasons? Do you see, first of all, you being a CA and everything, you can actually do the permutation and combination and see how things are going ahead. What is the economic status of the country and the world right now, and of the businesses that you're seeing, and where does it go from here?
Look, these are unusual times. There is no doubt about it. These are truly challenging times. I think, as you can see, lockdowns have created massive economic challenges. The economy's revenue machine has slowed down. But consumption need to continue, and we've lost many, many jobs. So I think the truth is, it is going to be some time before the economy starts getting back into its normal pace. The next, I think, a few quarters are going to be extremely challenging. All of us will need to pivot so that we don't perish. Okay, we need to find new skill sets, new business models, augment, simplify the way we do our businesses, and augment different cost models. And that is so true. And having said that, and therefore it is a dreary picture, having said that, what is exciting is I think people have embraced the lockdown in the true spirit. And I see it across the world, the stories across the world, how humanity has helped each other, and how in reality people are trying to feed off each other in a positive way. I think given all these energies, I believe we will come out sooner than later. Why go to the depression? If you went to the financial markets crash in 2007 to 2009, within 18 months, the markets were back, rolling ahead. I believe over the next 18 months, you'll see a very challenging period, but you will see us building out and starting to see the economy start to chug along. However, the key is we all need to learn new skill sets. We all need to create new business models. We need to simplify our complicated lives and pivot to a new tomorrow. And therefore, I've done a whole lot of courses on tech. I have learned from tech. And to me, the best mentors on tech are not people who teach you in the classroom, but the Gen Zs and the Gen Xs. And therefore, they've taught me how to use these. I got onto Twitter some time back, and I've started expressing myself. I'm now starting to enjoy that interaction. I got onto LinkedIn recently. I would have never wanted to get on and start showing, but I got persuaded to do that, and I have to say I'm reasonably enjoying that ride. But those are social media outcomes. But I have seen how tech can change the way we live our lives, and that is exciting for me. And over the last 5 years, my respect for tech and therefore embracing tech has been complete for myself, for the organization I work, and even for our household. And therefore, I'm constantly communicating how we can transform our lives by embracing tech.
But staying in a lockdown situation, have you noticed anything new about you? Is there a 2.0 version of you, or there's something new that you've learned about yourself?
Well, look, the lockdowns helped me spend a lot more time with my core family and my friends. Okay, I used to spend a little less, but because travel time's taken off, I have to say my mom shifted to Delhi recently because of the lockdown. And over the last 45 days, I spent more time with my mom, with my wife and daughter in a long, long time. If I add cumulatively, I've spent a lot of time. And it's been delightful listening to her anecdotal stories and therefore discovering myself in the process, listening to my insightful analysis by my daughter, and therefore discovering that the Gen Zs are going to take this world to a better place. And that's been my comforting. And listening to my wife's calmness about saying how this ride has been fascinating. And therefore, it's not hassled me. The lockdown's not hassled me. Work continues. Personal relationships have flowered. Equally, as I said, it's been awesome discovering my passion for music. I've always believed I had a lot of passion for music. More classical than mainline, but over the last 45 days, just linking up every weekend, I have at least 2 to 3 hours of stories of programs of various people, between friends, family, and some really well-known singers who are very happy to do it digitally, and we are happy to listen. It's been fascinating. So I'd just say discovering that the world will be a better place post-COVID, because we believe the Gen Zs will take charge, discovering myself through the eyes of various people and discovering my passion for music. It's been fascinating.
So what kind of genre is your favorite?
Carnatic classical. so I can,
Spoke like a true Kannadiga.
Well, it had nothing to do with Kannadiga, but it's just something which I have been fascinated with. I can listen to a lot of other music. My daughter obviously gets me to listen to the Camellia Kabils and the other people of today. But I think this is like comfort food, right? You'd go and taste out everything, but your comfort is the food you're growing up.
In the South households, it's very important for the boys and girls to study as well as learn something which is somehow related to music, an instrument, a kind of singing. The Carnatic classical music is world famous. Were you ever pushed कि यार ये भी सीखो, ये जरूरी है जिंदगी के लिए?
Well, I tried my hand. I'll be upfront. When I was a kid, my sister sang very, very well. So I would be envious of it, and I tried for a few months. I realized I would just fail in comparison. So I said, let me enjoy the ride versus start competing with her. And I enjoyed listening, and she enjoyed singing. So it was just a lovely combo.
So it's very important to know. What are the favorite singers that you have? Like you love a genre of music. What are the favorite singers that you've always throughout followed, and at any given point of time, if it's played in front of you, you just relax?
Well, music is relaxing. It has nothing to beat good quality music. But I'd say, there's a Carnatic classical singer. She's actually one of the best, MS Subbulakshmi, who's still back on. But equally, I'll have to tell you, I grew up on Clapton.
Oh.
So the other day over dinner, my daughter was playing Clapton, and I was so delighted. She said, "You've now gone into Nirvana. What's happened to you?" So, because it's just wonderful to go back to your comfort music. But I can keep going on music, but it's been.
But true, we were woken up during my childhood. It was like MS Subbulakshmi was just played, and you wake up. It's like your alarm. And no matter at that point of time you didn't like it, but now you started understanding and liking it. It's a different journey. So I can very well understand what you mean by that.
We woke up at home. There's something known as in the South Indian home known as Suprabhatam.
Yeah.
Early in the morning. So my parents would always play the Suprabhatam in the morning. And that was sung by one of these big singers. And therefore, we woke up to that all the time. So it was just the way life was, I assume.
Right. You mentioned about your social media handle. It's very interesting. I was going through your Twitter, and the first question I wanted to know was, which is your favorite mango? Let me guess. Banginapalli?
Not really. Good try, but I have to say, I stayed for many years in Bombay. And the Alfonsos and the Apus just took my heart. I have to say, I'm a complete mango junkie. And we have mangoes through our lives, so all mangoes are welcome. Any type of mango is palatable for me and delightful for me. But, this is special. Alfonsos or Apus are special.
From one mango follower to the other, it's like crazy. Well, I was going through your other tweets, and it's very good to know that you actually, in a way, not a professional way, but life lessons. One goes through life lessons when reading your tweets. World is full of irony, but also few beginnings. The air is pure, but wearing a mask is mandatory. All the paradoxes of life. Are you a thinker? Do you consider yourself a thinker?
Well, I don't know what a thinker is. I'm constantly thinking. That is true. I'm constantly speaking my mind. That is true. I'm constantly sharing. That is true. Okay, that is the way I am. I'm constantly listening. Okay, I never used to be a very good listener, but I've become a very, very good listener because I've realized relearning happens because you listen. And that's the way I call myself. I am open to be embraced and adapted to the situation. And that's what I enjoy life with. And therefore, the ironies of life are so true, aren't they? People talk about clean air and they blame Delhi for a long time. Now you've got the cleanest air, but you've got to wear a mask. You've got the best looking roads, but you can't drive them. Suddenly everybody wants to cook, but they can't invite people over for having it and enjoying it. But these are the ironies of life, and that's what brings out new beginnings to my mind. And that's the beauty of it. And therefore, that's the journey we all need to enjoy.
So what all did you do the new things staying at home? Like the work is round the clock, everybody's like your Zoom sessions from morning till evening, but do you get the time to just like, as you said, on weekends you get the time to be with your friends on Zoom and hear music? Are you a cinema fan? Are you a Netflix or that kind of a platform fan?
Well, I am not a big fan, but yes, I am a platform fan, and therefore we've gone back and seen a lot of old Hindi movies.
Oh,
suddenly because my mom's come in, and therefore she is for the first time in a long period, for 45 days, I've had breakfast, lunch, and dinner with her. So there are 3 women and a poor man with them. It's been fascinating. The discussion's been, and we've been having breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. Each of these meals are great sessions. It's either music or discussion or discovering ourselves. So it's been fascinating discovery. I think that's been the most exciting part. Yes, we've seen a lot of movies because mom's come in. So we've been seeing a lot more older movies than the recent movies. We're rediscovering some old movies and enjoying it. And in the process, our daughter who had never seen those old movies is starting to enjoy it. So it's been also a nice way of showing us how we have evolved in movies over a period of time.
So what are the last 3 movies that you saw?
Last 3, oh my God. I saw Chupke Chupke.
Oh, yeah. Amitabh Bachchan, Dharmendra. Oh, great.
Yes, the Rishikesh Mukherjee.
Yeah.
That is we saw it over the weekend. What is the last movie I saw the weekend before? I can't remember, my friend. I can't remember the names. But we saw 3 Hindi movies, 4 or 5 Hindi movies, but not, man. I can't remember the names.
Can you get hold of the remote in your house?
I don't even want to. But honestly, I have to say, lately, that is not a challenge at all. Nobody's watching TV. I have to say, nobody's watching TV at all at home. When we are watching it as a family. We are not watching it separately. My daughter does, I'm sure, watch other stuff. She watches it on her laptop.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, I'm sure, watches something else. She watches either on her phone or then comes to the TV. But I'm noticing that everybody, when we have TV time, it is family time. But when it's outside of TV, when people pretty much see their personal stuff either on laptops or on phones. But as you say that, it's going through my mind that that's what has changed dramatically.
Okay, 3 things. One thing each that you've learned from the 3 females in your life, from your mother, from your wife, because I feel that they are the biggest pillars of our lives, the women in our life. So one thing each that you've learned from all of them.
My mom, I should say, values. That's what I would say. My daughter, just being curious and insightful. My wife, I would say, just staying calm under any circumstances.
That shows a lot. That reflects a lot on you. No matter what.
These 3 women which have made the exciting me.
That's all the ingredients. Okay, you said that you mentioned many times that you're a social media, not social media, but tech savvy person. So what are the 2 to 3 apps that one can find in your phone that the moment you open your phone, you can, apart from official emails, the Outlook, what are the 2 to 3 apps that one can find in your phone?
So I play bridge on my phone. So I have an app for bridge. Okay, It's not social media.
Uh-huh.
I've got a whole lot of news apps and consultancy. So BCG, McKinsey, a whole lot of those apps outside of WSJ, New York Times, our own apps, HT, Mint, Hindustan. So pretty much I look at the news. I have a gaming app. I'm a big gamer on my phone. So It could be various games. The recent one is Luminosity, so I'm constantly playing games and doing that. I have recently got into a picture coloring app on my phone.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Because that's a great way of, there are times when you suddenly are very stressed. Now, there are two ways to handle stress. You go back to doing what you enjoy doing, or just vent it out. And the best way to vent it out is go and color. So I've started using the coloring app, and then I have the music apps. So these are typically my ecosystem on my phone. I'm a big app guy, so I have a few pages of apps. And I'm constantly paying for it. So sometimes I ask myself, do I use them enough? But it's been fun. The phone is my gateway to knowledge, if I may say so, or gateway to the world, if I may say so.
The day you must have started working. What was the first thing that you did with your first salary?
I remember buying a sari for my mom, and I remember buying a watch for my dad. And that blew up my salary, by the way, And then I asked my dad to fund me for the month.
And now when I think possibly if you want something that you can get it for yourself, is there anything that you think that money can't buy?
Peace. Simple peace. And that's something which you need to build to your own ecosystem. It's not something money can buy. What is your peace? What is your balance? You discover, you find space. Who are you peaceful with? Who do you find the right balance with? I think it's something which money can never buy. You discover it.
There's a host of people from HT and from outside who are watching you right now. What is one mantra that has always stayed with you? Always, like if you want to pass it on, like it's like just हमारे guru shishya parampara hoti. If you have to pass it on to somebody, what would that mantra be?
Be curious. Be a lifelong learner.
It's the Albert Einstein thing.
Right? I didn't know that, but it is about that, right? Life is about being curious and being about a lifelong learner. If you do that, I think you'll get the best out of you. You'll play to your potential. What better?
Wow. So in this, everybody who's facing this challenge, a lot of mental challenge, like people are stuck in their homes and there are a lot of psychological things that are coming up. The physical aspect, it's not hidden from anybody, and the financial aspect as well. What is your message for everybody in these dire times that they should listen to or do it every day in their lives that will keep them going?
So first is my gratitude to everyone who works out. It could be medical workers, it could be sanitation workers, it could be workers who are making sure that the essential commodities get delivered, like even our newspaper editors, reporters, vendors, radio, RJs, and everyone my gratitude to them. First, in these difficult times, I have to say I'm humbled by what they do on a day-to-day basis. And I'm really proud to be associated with some of them. That's the first thing I'd say. Second, I just say is, do remember these are challenging times. And therefore, the key for you is to help each other and demonstrate humanity so that we can help solve for the challenges around the ecosystem. So do your own small bit, and those small things will add up to make a huge difference to the society at large.
And just on your behalf, if I might add, be curious.
Be curious and be a lifelong learner, if I may say.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving your time, precious time. And it was lovely talking to you and understanding that part of of a business leader that nobody knows that much. And thank you so much for giving it.
Thanks, Peeyush. Thanks for calling me on your esteemed channel, radio channel. It's been delightful working with you folks, and you make us proud all the time.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great day, sir. Goodbye. Bye.